Okay, we're going to go and get started here on our final forum of the evening for County Coroner. Let people know that this is one of those races where the primary is going to be the election. We have Republicans filed for this office, and two of them are with us tonight, Bob Martin and Rebecca Reed. The incumbent is not running for re-election, and so we have challengers here. And it's a 4-year term. There are no term limits, and so we'll go ahead and get started with the same kind of format we've been using before, which is that the candidates will have a minute and a half to give an opening statement, and then we will start in with questions. The time to respond is a minute and a half, and then with an optional 15-second to either expand on their own or their own answer or respond to the other person, and then a minute and a half to close finally. So we'll go ahead and get started and with the opening, and what we'll do is alternate the beginning person who starts off. And so we'll start with Mr. Martin here. If you could use the mic there, a minute and a half to tell us more about your candidacy.
Thank you. My name is Bob Martin. I was born in Texas, grew up in San Diego, spent a lot of my adult life in Lake Tahoe, California, northern Nevada area. I've been in Cheyenne for about 11 years, moved up here to be closer to family. It was kind of strange at first, moving to Cheyenne, Wyoming, when you would drive down a neighborhood you've never been in before, and somebody out watering their lawn would wave to you. Just a perfect stranger waving to you as you go down the street. It seems strange to me, but it doesn't seem strange anymore, because I lived here for 11 years, and I love living in a place where that doesn't seem strange.
Okay, thank you. And I failed to introduce the candidates. Bob Martin, Rebecca Reed, and then Marty Lunas will be on the Republican ballot. He is not here tonight, so I'm sorry. So go ahead, Ms. Reed, with your minute and a half to open.
Okay, hello. My name is Rebecca Reed. I'm originally from Panama City, Florida. That is where my quest for death investigation began. I have worked in this career field now for 11 years. I came to Laramie County with extensive field experience and qualifications. I am currently the Chief Deputy Coroner at the Laramie County Coroner's Office, where I've worked for nearly 5 years. Since moving to Laramie County, I've become involved in many of the agencies of outreach, including Grace for Two Brothers, Zonta of Cheyenne, and the Child Death and Prevention Team, just to name a few. I work hard to make sure all organizations collaborate together to achieve the goal of taking care of deceased and their families. The reason why I'm running for coroner is because I want to continue to serve Laramie County families and their loved ones during these difficult times in their life. I know I have the knowledge, integrity, compassion, education, and experience to do the jobs that the citizens want and need.
Okay, thank you. And well, actually, we're going to start you with Ms. Reed for the first question. And as with all the other races, we'll start out with the question: what are 3 issues you think facing the coroner's office, and how would you handle them? And a minute and a half, and you'll have an optional 15 seconds after that.
Okay, the first is, I would say, keeping someone in the office who has integrity, compassion, knowledge, and experience. The deceased and their family members deserve to be treated with those 3 qualities from the beginning and the end. How would I do that? Making sure the citizens of Laramie County are educated on why it's important to have someone with those qualifications in the office. Second one, that the families of the deceased are taken care of, not just on the day that their loved one dies, but from start to finish. They're going to need follow-up, making sure all documentations are done properly and in a timely manner. My third one would be a database. As of right now, the coroner's office handwrites everything into a notebook. And I feel that we need to have a system to be able to input all of that to where if we want to get stats or get other information, we can just pull it up on the computer. With that being said, I've been working with the State Vital Records Office on the pilot program project. That's going to be a database to input all of our case files in so we can share it with different agencies.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martin?
So the 3 areas I think would be training, partnerships, and modernizing. Training, we We do training now, but with the influx of new drugs and the more drug cases that we have, it's hard to keep up with what's going on out there. We do training now, but we basically do training on a as it comes basis. I think we could do a little bit better job with going out looking for more training and spending a little bit more time on that. Partnerships with the other agencies that we work with, we are just a link in the chain with law enforcement, first responders, the court system, the hospital. We work with a lot of different agencies, and I think we can do a little bit better job with our partnerships in those other agencies. And then modernizing, Rebecca touched on the database. I completely agree with that. Right now, if we are in the field, which we usually are, and someone calls and needs one piece of information, if we don't have that at the top of our head, we have to drive 8 miles out to the office, open a file cabinet, look at a piece of paper, and call them back. It seems like a ridiculous waste of man hours to do that. So.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any follow-up to, okay, then we'll go ahead and start on the questions, and Mr. Martin has the mic, so, and where it should be. So here's the question that the league has prepared. Should there be a change in qualifications for coroner? And what about continuing education and professional development? Is a medical background necessary? A law enforcement background? Grief counseling? So these are all, you know, possible qualifications or continuing education needs for coroner. Do you agree with any of those?
I agree those are all helpful to being the coroner. I don't know if they should be necessarily qualifications to begin the job, but it should definitely be something that is taken on while you're in the job. Currently, the only qualifications to be the coroner in Laramie County are you have to be over the age of 21 and not be convicted of a felony. Once you are the coroner, you have to go to coroner's basic for a week, and that is the only qualification to be coroner in Laramie County. So I do think there is more needed to be coroner. I don't necessarily know that it should be mandated up front, but it should be mandated within a certain amount of time.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Reed?
Can you read the question
You
again,
bet.
please?
Sure. Should there be a change in qualifications for coroner? And what about continuing education, professional development? Is a medical background necessary? A law enforcement background? Grief counseling? So just, those are 3 possible areas to think about.
Okay. Well, I think we as a state have not made contact to try to get it changed to a medical examiner. In my opinion, I think yes, we should change to a medical examiner county due to we will have a licensed forensic pathologist in the state of Wyoming and at our office. Yes, I think you do need to have law enforcement and medical background because we deal with law enforcement each and every day on each case that we work. And if you don't know how they operate, it's very difficult to work as a team together. And along with medical, if you don't know your basic, anatomy and that sort of thing, you're not going to be able to do the job.
Okay, thank you. And I know this is adding, if you could use 15 to 20 seconds to talk about the grief counseling piece, which neither one of you kind of mentioned. And you want to go ahead and address
Yeah,
that?
sure. So, as you know, I work with Grace for Two Brothers and I head their loss prevention team. So Bob and I both are QPR certified, so we're able to help people in a time of need and crisis when it comes to suicide and that type of thing. So I do believe that each person that is in our office needs to have some kind of grief counseling because it's part of the job.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Martin?
Yeah, Rebecca's absolutely right, and I think Rebecca can attest to this, that if you're not kind of a natural grief counselor, you're not going to last long in this job. So.
Okay, thank you. And then I took away your optional 15 seconds. Do either one of you want to add to? Okay, we can move on to the next question if you're ready. Okay. And so Ms. Reed will have the first shot. Is the coroner's office adequately staffed and equipped? Are there areas that need improvement?
Well, first of all, we're not equipped. by no means, to be honest. We really need more deputies in there. There's Bob and I now, and then the coroner, Ron Sargent, which he has kind of taken calls when we need some time off, but it's long hours. I mean, there's some cases to where we could be working 20 and 30 hours just on one case, depending on, the circumstances surrounding it. In regards to the office, I really feel that we need to be more up to OSHA standards in our morgue facility. There's things that we don't have that we really need to be able to do autopsies in-house.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martin?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Is the coroner's office adequately staffed and equipped? Are there areas of improvement?
No, we're not adequately staffed, but we are staffed to budget. So there's just not much we can do about that. Like the sheriff's department, like the police department, you can only do what you can do. Which is why I think maybe better partnerships with some of the other agencies would help us fill the gaps.
Okay, does anyone want to do a follow-up comment at this point?
No.
All right, so Mr. Martin, we'll start this round. The idea of transparency has come up repeatedly tonight. So could you address the idea of transparency in the coroner's office, transparency with families and with the news media? Is that an area that could be improved, should be improved?
Legally could not be improved and should not be improved.
Okay.
Can you read the question again? I'm sorry.
And I was kind of approximating it, but the idea of transparency has come up repeatedly for the various offices tonight. And I was wondering, as far as the coroner's office, idea of being transparent with the public, with news media. Should the coroner's office, can they and should they be more transparent in the work they do?
Well, I guess I don't understand the question initially. So I think I'm gonna pass on that.
You want me to, well, and I could, and just, obviously you can continue to pass, but I'll just say transparency, which you're right, is kind of an inexact term, but it was being able to respond to questions about information about cases, findings, that sort of thing.
So as you know, the Wyoming statute states that our records are not public records. The only people that we can share it with is an agency that's working the case with us, i.e. law enforcement, the DA, the forensic pathologist. I do believe that the legal next of kin deserves a right to know what's going on with the case, and they should be able to know everything about the case. In regards to the media, I do believe that the public needs to be aware, but there's only certain information they should be able to be provided.
Okay, thank you. And I guess, segueing off that, then you wouldn't see a need to seek more ability to disclose information. That would not be something you would pursue. You think it's about right?
No, it's about protecting the rights of the families and law enforcement and their involvement.
Okay. And actually, one of my questions was about updating, modernizing record keeping and that sort of thing. And it sounds like you both kind of addressed the need to maintain electronic records that are easily accessible. Do either one of you want to talk any more about that, or do you think that's been kind of exhausted?
I do.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be done to be modernized, and it's not that hard. It's not rocket science. I mean, all the technology already exists. We've just been behind the times in putting it to good use for us. I mean, we still log entries into a 3-ring binder with a pen. I mean, we're just lacking in our office. It's not. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just need to use the technology that's already there under statutory regulations.
Okay, and Ms. Reed, you want to?
So I'll go back on that pilot project in regards to the State Vital Records Office. So So what that program will do, and first of all, so some people may say, well, money is an issue. Well, we're not funding that. The state received a grant that will be covered for 5 years with our IT department maintaining the program itself. So what that will mean is all of the state of Wyoming's coroners will be able to have this database and along with law enforcement and be able to access the reports at their convenience instead of us sending in handwritten request forms. We're able to just say, okay, send this to the chief of police or the sheriff, So it's going to be easier access to records on law enforcement and our side, and we'll be able to keep more stats on suicides, homicides, and overdoses and cases like that.
Okay, thank you. Do either one of you want to follow up on that? Well, that exhausts the questions I had. So I think we'll just go ahead and move to the minute and a half closing, and let me see, Ms. Reed, you'll be starting out a minute and a half, and you can use it to summarize or to bring up something that hasn't been dealt with this evening.
Okay, well, I don't think I need a minute and a half. I know everybody's getting tired. So first of all, thank you for each and every one of you to stay to listen to the last of us here at the coroner's office. I just want to say my passion for this job is so much for these families, and I love each and every day that I'm able to use my training and my experience to be able to help these families in a time of need. Working with law enforcement is a wonderful experience. No problems, we all work as a team, and I hope that you will remember my name when you head to the polls on August 21st. I would love to continue to serve Laramie County as your coroner.
All right, thank you. Mr. Martin.
So I am constantly asked the question, why should you vote for me? Why should I vote for you? There's many reasons why, but every time I start talking about the right mix of experience or how much I love how down to earth the citizens of our county are, people's eyes start glazing over. I've never been a politician before, but apparently it's very easy to sound like a politician. The answer that seems to matter most to people, oddly enough, is the easiest question for me to answer, which is, if I'm ever called to your house for the death of a loved one, you have my promise that I will treat them, your entire family, with the utmost respect and compassion. And I promise to go above and beyond and do whatever I can to try and make a horrible situation as good as I can.
Okay, thank you very much. That ends the final forum tonight. Can we get them in? Thank you again. The YouTube links we'll put on our Facebook page. I will send it to all of the candidates. Please share it with your supporters, and thank you for coming. Thank you.